question 112, sir. So, achievements and positive impacts that have been observed since the introduction of the Meghalaya State Organic and Natural Farming Policy 2023 are: 1. An organic society has been formed, namely the Meghalaya Natural and Organic Society for Livelihood and Innovation of Agriculture, to implement organic and natural farming initiatives in the state. 2, sir, the Meghalaya State Organic Mission 24 to 28 has been formulated and launched on February 15, 2024, with the ambitious aim of converting and sustaining 1 lakh hectares of land under NPOP certified organic cultivation. 3, sir, 6 service providers have been empaneled to facilitate certification processes and implement the mission, sir.
Ronnie, your supplementary.
Yeah. So I'd like to commend the Honorable Minister. We've seen under her charge a lot of interventions have been done, and one of them is this organic mission. So may I know from the Honorable Minister, in this society, are these stakeholders, the farmers, also included in this society of Meghalaya's Natural Organic Society for Livelihood Innovation of Agriculture?
So the composition of the Magnolia. So we have the operational arm composed of distinguished chairperson, a chief executive officer, a mission director. Magnolia will be guided by a strong leadership. This team further bolstered by agricultural scientists, experts in organic farming practices, specialists in marketing, value addition and certification. So, sir, this umbrella also collaborates, coordinates and takes suggestions of farmer producer groups or corporations accordingly.
Thank you, sir. Why I'm asking this question, sir, because farmers have been earlier encouraged to use chemicals. So now to wean them away from that, I think takes a long time. That's why, sir, I put this question. If we can involve, these stakeholders, the end beneficiaries, then we can, incentivize them to, move away from chemicals and adopt this. And another point, sir, I'd like, are there any niche markets being considered by the government to sell this organic produce, so that the farmers will realize that, if they move away from using chemicals and use organic, they'll fetch a higher price and will benefit, it will be a win-win situation, sir, for all of us, for the state, for the farmers, sir.
So 2 big questions have been asked. I will try to respond accordingly one by one. Firstly, sir, we are familiar with the fact that on the 12th of June 2014, state discontinued chemical cultivation practices. Subsequent to that, over and above the fact that we were not anyways eligible for this fertilizer sanctions and subsidies from the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. Subsequently in 2022, because farmers expressed the inability to quickly shift from non-organic to organic practices, a small window was then decided as a policy by the Department of Agriculture. So the intention now is to ensure that we address this entire um, organic application in a phased manner. We have earmarked, or shall we say, we have looked at the entire map of cultivable land, and we are now slowly increasing this and placing it under the map of organic farming. So this year, I mean in the next 4 to 5 years, we expect to ensure that about 100 hectares of land will be cultivable under organic mission. Second question you asked, sir, can you repeat?
Outlets for, these organically produced crops.
Beg your pardon, sir?
These outlets, markets to sell this, marketing of these organically produced crops so that, the customers will know where you can obtain those organically grown crops.
So, Honorable Speaker, sir, we are now proud as a state of Meghalaya to talk about success stories. So there are success stories in the Ribhoi areas. We have a particular company, farmers have agglomerated together. We have the Jirang Organic Agro Farmers Producers. Let me tell you the kind of things that these groups are doing. And today, we have even provided for this group, because of its high demand on certain producers of this over and above spices, also fruits now. So we've also provided them with additional support of the waxing machine to increase the shelf life of their produce. They have a high turnover. I don't have the detail of that latest high turnover. These producers are now being marketed not just to Indian markets, but we're also looking at markets abroad. That is what the department is now engaging in its various schemes. Then we also have another group, the Eastern Ribhoi Organic Farmer Groups. So here as well, through this Mission Organic Value Chain Development for the Northeastern Region program, they are also marketing ginger, turmeric, amongst some of the other producers. We also have lay-by markets, where through the intervention, personal interest of the Honorable Chief Minister and his office, we are now going to be showcasing, not just showcasing, encourage sales in various huts across the state. We also looking at exchange of these producers through border huts and other outlets. There's a big plan under this mission, sir, and I'm confident that we will reach somewhere.
Yes, Dr. Mukul, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to commend the government for furthering the initiative in as far as converting our farmland into organic farms are concerned. Now, in view of the fact that the state had embarked upon this mission organic almost 10 years back, and substantial amount of fund has been spent both from the state exchequer, state fund, as well as from Government of India. Now there is a need to be really cautious, clear and cautious on one possibility of duplication of schemes. Because as per the inputs, I have some apprehension that there has been some duplication of schemes, meaning the areas which were already taken up under the state plan was also taken up by the fund from Government of India. Therefore, I would like to know from the Honorable Minister in charge, in view of this transition from the earlier mission organic to this new initiative, which is also same, may I know what is the total area which has been converted in as far as the certification of organic is concerned. The areas for which organic certifications have so far been issued with a breakup of the areas covered under state fund and the Government of India. So that the further areas which will be covered will have a complete clarity.
So the query raised by the Honourable Member Dr. Mukul Sangma sir encompasses a huge reply, because there are various components of sanctions, components of areas that we have achieved. We understand that he is the author of this vision and this important intervention. We are aware that he himself is also keenly observing the progress of the work. With your permission, sir, so that I do not waste the time of this August House, may I be permitted to lay all of these statements on the table of the House?
You may do that. Yes,
I'm not
please.
done
Yes.
yet, Mr. Speaker. Yes. Very important program, because it's not just confined to our focus on food security, but we also want to integrate our seriousness pertaining to our resolve to ensure nutritional security. Now, health and food, they are inseparable. So like what we Garo says, me, some, I always used to remind ourselves that what we eat, what we drink will determine our well-being. This is the same approach which is adopted by Britishers. Eat your food that in such a manner that you don't have to take medicines. So I think that's the whole concept, keeping in view the natural advantage that we have by default, because our farmers don't use pesticides. So my point is now here, keeping in mind the constraint of convincing people for transfer, or rather converting non-organic farming to real organic format. What is the total number of farmers who have participated so far, and how many certifications have been so far given for the farmers who have agreed to participate in these programs under Mission Organic preceding this launch of this program?
So under the Mission Organic Value Chain Development for Northeastern Regions, the physical progress area-wise and number of farmers, we had targeted 6,000, we have achieved 6,000. Number of farmers 6,000, achieved 5,126. FPOs we have targeted 12 and we have achieved 12. In the second phase, we have an area of 8,000 hectares. Targeted, achieved also 8,000, farmers 8,000. In fact, we have done much better in the second phase, where we have about 9,867 farmers already in the program. Then we also have FPOs, 16 numbers, both targeted and achieved. We understand, sir, that in order to achieve the target of organic farming, we have a big challenge: availability of alternative farming nutrition. So we've also looked at biofertilizers, and in fact, we are now having our own biofertilizer lab at Upper Shillong, the State Biological Control Lab. We are increasing our capacities to make sure that farmers have an alternative to nutrition for farming. We also have one in North Gara Hills, the biofertilizer unit at Mendipathal. Then we also have one biofertilizer unit at Kaim in East Khasi Hills. So we are trying now, therefore, to not only encourage farmers, but we are also making sure that farmers are handheld in the right way. Certain areas in the state, which likely will take a much longer time to be included in the organic mob. for example, farmers who grow green vegetables, cauliflower, tomatoes. These are the farmers that, because of the conditions of their farming practice in so many years, they have not been able, or they may not be able to be weaned quickly to get into an organic mode. However, we have the other farming practices, the big plantations, multi-cropping plantations, where we don't have nutrient dependent farming produces. So those like ginger, we have turmeric, we have black pepper, and a host of other producers. And I myself, as a minister, I'm trying to familiarize myself with these great, developments that are now unfolding. And so, the produce of the state of Meghalaya are known across the globe for their organic component. And Meghalayans, as a practice, through time immemorial, have always preferred to go for this organic plantation.
Yes, please, answer, Swin.
I want to first make a statement or comment, and then I may ask a simple question. Sir, this organic farming is an adaptation to climate change or climate resilience, which I appreciate the government or the department has think upon. But making purely organic in our state, I think it is a very Herculean task. Because it takes some conversion period, maybe 3 to 5 years. You have to identify the crops, like tomato, potato, cabbage, which is very difficult to go for purely organic if you go for a large scale production. So, because organic means we have to avoid spraying of chemicals, fertilizers, or chemical pesticides. This will help in reducing the soil pollution, the water pollution, and the air pollution. So may I request the department concerned to identify the certain crops, identify the certain area, and handholds the practice to convert into an organic production. May I request the government to handhold the practice on conversion of inorganic to organic production.
Point noted, sir.
Barden.
So, the question that I'm planning to raise has been expressed by the other members. But anyway, I just want to know from the honorable ministers the number of farmers in percentage who have shifted from to organic farming with cabbage, cauliflowers, these green vegetables in particular, in percentage.
In percentage specific, I may not have the information, sir. I require notice. It's going to be difficult, sir.
Mrs. Saling, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'm also happy the move that is made by our government and the policy that they are doing so to preserve the organic in our state. But on the other point, Mr. Speaker, sir, whenever agriculture team goes, they try to, dilute the whole systems of naturally produced by the local people itself sometime. Now, my question is, Mr. Speaker, sir, we're talking about organic. So, is there any natural preservations to transport all those organic materials to the markets? Because otherwise, if it is not so, then it will dilute the whole concept of organic. agriculture itself. So is there any way of preserving the organic vegetables or organic materials to the, because it takes 2-3 days, or when you are exporting outside, it even takes a week. So is there any natural preservations so as to give them the natural organic way of natural preservation?
Honorable Speaker, sir, we are very fortunate that we have the temperature and we have the correct climate to actually allow producers or farmers to market their products. However, domestic circulation of this produce may not be too challenging for the farmers, despite the fact that we have also instituted various hubs, grading, cold storages facilities. We've also given the vehicles to these farmer producer groups, organizations, societies, etc. And a question asked by the honorable member may be too vague. If I can know specifically what exactly is he talking about. Are we talking about the circulation of these producers, or are they talking about whether the government is doing anything to make sure that all of these various interventions are done by us? I need clarity on the question, sir.
What I mean to say is, Mr. Speaker, sir, the question is very simple actually. Whenever we take the produce, now what I have seen, especially in Najing Bazaar itself, from my constituency, they build in a bulk. They bring all the produce in a bulk, and they don't have a place to keep in the storage. Now, cold storages and all. And we don't have a proper cold storages to keep their produce after they, after they cultivate their products. So, in view of that, is there any natural preservatory kind of a system where they can preserve it naturally? Otherwise, if they spray something, then the concept of whole nature organic will dilute. This is what I'm asking. Is there any natural preservatory, system? If there is, if you're talking about the cold storage, how many cold storages are there in the state of Meghalaya right now?
So we as a department, like I said, on certain producers like tomatoes, mandarin, we have what we call the waxing facilities, and I've just said we have experimented this in Biboy, in Jirang, and that is the first of such a natural, a wax, which is not organic in nature. And exact number district-wise of these cold storages, I will have the information placed on the table because I cannot remember, so many of them are there. How many are in the pipeline, that also, sir, I can place on the floor of the table. But we are going aggressive on this because we know that the main link of life for doubling of farmers' incomes is to help market their producers. And if you're going to market their producers, you need to first provide important linkages of cold storages and other facilities like vehicles which can quickly take these producers of the farmers to their designated markets. And over and above that, sir, how much are we spending? What are the plans? I will definitely place it on the floor of the table for easy understanding of honorable members who all seem to be very engaged and interested in knowing more about organic farming.
Sir, one more question.
Yes, please.
So, may I know from the Honorable Minister whether the government is contemplating to make a data entry for the farmers so that we will have the real statistics of farmer in the state?
So, in the entire intervention of the Meghalaya State Organic Mission as well as the Central Organic Mission, so we have various stages. One of those stages will be the internal control systems where we actually start registering. Each farmer needs to be registered. You cannot access the scheme if you are not registered. So we are going all out to ensure that these farmer groups, the very fact that we call them farmer producer groups, farmer companies, now we have farmer societies also. And the problem with the state of Meghalaya is that farming land does not belong to one owner. So you have small and marginalized farmers. And that's where the biggest challenge is. Are these farmers now willing to connect together? Lot of hand-holding is being done by our officers in the directorate. I must thank all of them, sir, because they are personally working with all the stakeholders to handhold them along the way. So this is what we are doing.
Yes. Gabriel Wala.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. In the course of the Minister reply, 6 service providers have been empaneled to facilitate certification process and implement the mission. May I know from the Minister, how do the farmer approach to get the certification for their organic products?
Honorable Speaker, sir, this again is a huge document. I can place it on the floor of the House, but the certification process broadly will require a baseline survey, farmer group formation, internal control system management, maintaining a farm diary, managing supply of on-farm and off-farm inputs, third-party inspection and certification, market linkages under the MOBCDNER. So there is also, making sure that you collectivize these markets and then you build them in the farmers' MIS. Then you have formation of these groups, bank account opening, BDOs, interventions. So many things are happening, sir.
The table.
Yes.